Ladies, how are we doing? I've got to answer these questions. Due on July 13th, and it is July 13th. So, got to do it. I wanted to rank you guys instead about, who I like the most or who annoys me the most. And it was definitely going to be who annoys me the most, but Jenna told me I couldn't do that and that I had to answer the questions. But just for the record, the person that annoys me the most is Caitlin. And it's not really even close. So, um, close second would probably be the group chat from Power Life. You guys, we need to get that group some help. I don't know what it is, but we need to look into it. We'll figure it out though. We got some time. But I gotta answer these questions. So I'd love to expand more on that, but I gotta get into this. The relationship trivia is what did she wear on our first date? I believe that she wore a black tank top and jean shorts, but to be fully transparent, could be wrong. But it wasn't. I think our first date was more about. I was extremely excited to be able to spend time with her. Um, I, you know, was very fond of her going into the date, and the more I got to know her, the more I got to spend time with her. I could tell very quickly that I wanted to make sure it went as well as it could to be able to spend as much time with her moving forward as I could because I truly cared about her a lot. And after our first date, I definitely knew she was somebody I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and that I could only hope for. But it wasn't about what she was wearing; it's about getting to know her. I hope that's what she was wearing, but honestly, it is what it is. We're still here, so we made it. But could be wrong, so might need to fact check that. What is her favorite restaurant? I think it's because she grew up in Andalusia, Illinois, where I don't know if they have restaurants. I think there's a place called Ducky's. Um, so I, by default, it's Shanghai. Um, Full disclosure, you never been there. They kill kittens, and they feed you the kittens. They kill them in the alleyway, and then they go cook them in the kitchen. You can fact check that with Marty Flaherty. But solid source that told me that. So and I believe it. I do believe it. And there were sandals like working there. It's disgusting. So I would not go. It did burn down. So tells you what you need to know. Probably not the most sanitary place, but guess they have good Chinese food that tastes like all the other Chinese food, but it's different. Yeah, it's different. Allegedly. So what is Jenna's biggest pet peeve? I don't really know if this is like about me, if this is just her biggest pet peeve in general. I don't think it's because Caitlin put these together and she knows I'm perfect, so I don't think she would like have a pet peeve, being about me. But if it is about me, I would assume it's probably the fact that like I don't think about going into a situation anything negative ever happening, no matter like how bad or whatever it is, and that's all Jenna worries about going into any situation. So I think that's probably her biggest pet peeve with me is like she's anxious about everything, and I'm not. I'm the complete opposite. So like if I was her, like she's like, okay, this guy isn't thinking about this right now, and then I could see how that would be a little bit of a pet peeve, but I think we balance each other out in a good way there. If it's not about me, you know, probably something with Power Life because you guys all complain about something most of the time. And then I have to listen to it, to be honest with you. And it's a group chat, so that group chat's always going about something. But great group. Or it could be that I watch a lot of sports, but like I usually go do stuff if there's stuff to do. Not like sometimes I gotta be like pushed a little bit to go do it, but I think it's the first one if it is about me. If not, then it's all the people that she has to deal with at that Power Life probably. But yeah, so let's go to the next one here. What's something she thinks is embarrassing about herself, but you love? Now, I love everything about Jenna. and I try to hype her up every day because I wanted to know how special she is. But she does wake up every day and usually has something different. So I don't even think it's one thing. I think it's just like the flavor of the day, if you will, that she tries to find something, but she's perfect. So, but she's also an anxious girl. So she's got both those going for her. So you got to kind of balance them out. But I would say the one thing, she had the little Dumbo ears when she was a kid, so I think she thought those are embarrassing, but I think they're kind of cute. So that could be one, but just cute Dumbo ears. So if I could relive one date, which would it be? I don't know. I mean, like trip wise, like I think we took a trip early on in our relationship. We went to Chicago. Had the best time with her. I think it was our first time probably getting away with each other, where it was just us. So probably that one. We had a lot of fun, and I think it's solidified like, hey, like we definitely belong with each other. But like, I mean, I don't think you could take away. If there's one day I would want to relive, it's definitely like the feeling I had after our first date, because I knew I wanted to spend every day with her for the rest of my life, and I never even doubted it. I wanted to see her the next day, the day after that, and we've been inseparable since. So, just going back to be able to relive that feeling, and then to be here today to still have that same feeling where she's the first person I want to talk to. She's the person that brings me the most comfort. It's all that same stuff, and I'm lucky enough to be reminded by her every day, how much she cares about me and how much she loves me. But I knew, like, after that day that she'd be the perfect partner, the perfect wife. So probably our first date or Chicago, because our first date's kind of cliche. So I don't want to be too cliche, but at the end of the day, all we got is the truth. So, some funny questions. Who's more likely to start an argument over something ridiculous? I don't think I actually have to answer that because it's pretty clear that it is her. Because, uh, yeah, I mean, you just never know, right? Sometimes she'll just wake up and, if she was on the wrong side of the bed, like it could be a day of, she just, it's, oof, woof, it's not, it's never anything bad. It's just the most ridiculous things that she'll start, that she could start an argument over, and you just don't see it coming. But very rare, very rare, So, but definitely her. Although probably could be me too at the end of the day. But might not be me, but it's probably because of me. So let me rephrase that. It probably is her that starts them because of my reaction to something that was probably wrong. Accountability is best ability. One of the best abilities. What is her weirdest habit? She toots in the morning from anywhere from like 3:30 to 5 a.m. She'll let out a little toot. Like pretty consistently, and she'll tell me she didn't, but I'm awake. Like I'm like, me and Santa Claus have some stuff in common, like I see everything. That's why, that I hear everything. But it's kind of weird little habit just to let a little toot out, in the morning. But what are you gonna do? Where am I at? What is her most used phrase? See, I don't know if this is a phrase, but she'll be like, just shout, "Oh my God!" Like something's on fire, like the world's ending, and it could be the smallest thing, and it'll be like a 911 emergency. So, I think she probably, I guess it could be, "Oh my God," but like sometimes when she blows these like small things out of proportion. Yeah, it's literally like she thought she messed something up, but she didn't even mess it up. But she's like, "Oh my God, like this is in the world." Nothing was even wrong. So it's quite incredible to see where she goes from way up here to realize there was nothing ever even wrong. So, I if that's a phrase, it's that, but she does that quite often. Um, what is her most embarrassing moment that you're allowed to share? She has pooped herself 3 times. 3 times. Since we've been dating. That's once a year. So, not sure. I'm pretty sure I've told everybody already. So it's like if I'm not supposed to share, what are you gonna do? But you gotta go. You gotta go. So like, I'm proud of her for that. You gotta be yourself. Um, just we've had to buy a few extra pairs of pajamas from those incidents. But what are you gonna do? Gotta do it. You gotta do it. What is her? I just answered that one. What is something she does that drives you crazy, but I secretly love? She doesn't really drive me crazy at all. Because we have a lot of fun with each other. I think. If anything, I drive her crazy because I joke around probably too much. But she takes it well, probably as well as anybody could. With having to deal with me. But like, the one thing that she does is like, she'll ask me a question that is meant for a third grader. Like we're going to the airport, get on a plane. She's like, "Hey, do you have your ID?" I'm like, "What? Why wouldn't I have my ID?" Like just simple stuff like that. Um, and it's probably my fault that she has to ask those simple questions. So I probably got look yourself in the mirror, but it is nice to date somebody and spend your life with somebody that is the opposite of you when it comes to like planning and making sure you have everything, because I don't plan anything and don't really double check things. I've left a good amount of AirPods at hotels, or in the washer, you know. So it's my fault, but I would say those small little questions that she asks me sometimes are they check my patience. But like I said, do it to myself. So, all right, we're going cute and sweet. Yeah, a little cute and sweet. Get the treats out. A little sweet treat. All right. What is your favorite thing about her personality? Early on, I think Jenna's an extremely special person because you can see like the things that like she truly loves and she cares about, and like the first things that I obviously they will notice when Jenna, and like you see Jenna, she loves Duke basketball and she loves Taylor Swift, goofy things, but the way that she loves about him, the way that she talks about him, the way that she cares about him, the passion that she has, you're like, wow, like if she loves those things that way, like imagine like the way that she would love the people around her, and you do see it, the people that all are close to her, everybody in the room there. She obviously loves you guys more than anything in the world, and I've been lucky enough to feel the same love. So that's been meant the world to me. Um, to be able to see, to be able to feel every day, and every day I'm reminded just how much she cares, and how much she loves about me. But you can see it through everything that she does love and that she cares about. She cares in a special way. She loves in a special way. So it's definitely my favorite thing about her personality is that's the only way she knows how to love. So I'm an extremely lucky person. What is your favorite memory together? Hmm. Jenna's big TikTok gal. So I think there's special days that like she obviously like envisions herself. Like once the uh, y- has things that she has built up in her mind, and my goal in life is to make sure that their dreams come true, uh, and be able to live out those special days how she sees them. So our engagement was a really special day. Caitlin and Jamie, they did a really good job of making sure that it was going to be something that she loved, and that she would never forget. And just showing up there that day, we got there first, and it brought tears to my eyes because I knew how much she was gonna love it and how much it'd mean to her, and that it was gonna be everything that she ever wanted that day to be, um, and something that she'd never forget. So I was just extremely happy that they were able to pull that off and make that day so special for us and have them around us. Then be able to obviously, which our families could have been there as well, but be able to FaceTime them after. But it was just the perfect setting, and I think is everything that she ever wanted. And for me, that's all that matters. So, what song reminds you of her? I think it. I mean, anything Taylor Swift because I don't really know any songs, but like I have to listen to Taylor Swift so often. Like, you know, we just kind of roll with it. So probably Love Story. The baby just say yes. I can kind of get pretty high. In the car, get a pretty high voice and rock that out together. But it's just fun to be able to sing those songs with her and see that side of her that she loves and makes her happy. So really any Taylor Swift song because that's what she loves. But any of those remind me of her. What is one thing you hope never changes about your relationship? I think we're both pretty intentional on doing things for each other to remind each other how much we care and how much we love each other. And obviously, a lot of stuff happens in life. That life gets busy. The older you get, the more responsibilities that you have. And I never want to forget why we chose each other. I never want us to feel like one of us is not supporting each other, emotionally or being there for each other. So just make sure that, we still do those things every day, for the rest of our lives, just to remind each other how much we do care about each other and how much we love each other. And just stick to really the basics of what got us here and, what we form our life around. But, I think we form our life around the love that we have for each other, and consistently remind each other every day, by doing whether it's small things, big things. I think we'll live a happy life, and I think that's all that really matters. Have a great family together, and yeah. So about the bridesmaids, I actually had to write these down. Everything else is, from my talent and that I learned in drama class. This is one take. Um, Learn some great skills to be able to do this, edit it, video myself, no team needed. But these questions I had to write down because I feel like you guys probably could have been the answers for multiple of them. And some of them, it's like, I say it's like the tallest midget, right? Um, Even though you're the tallest, you're still a midget. Some of these questions, it's like, could have been all the guys. So, let's keep that in mind. But which bridesmaid is most likely to cry during the ceremony? Ceremony, I went with Casey only because like Marty's gonna cry the most. So I figured as much as Marty's gonna cry, there's at least got to be one tear in there out of Casey. But I also don't know. It's a wild card, but I'm banking on like her having at least one because of Marty having a million. So, that was my reasoning for that one. Which bridesmaid is most likely to be late on the wedding day? Going Maddie on this one. Is you or Katie J? Just be fully transparent. You both are kind of wild cards. So, out of respect, if you're a little late, no problem. Which bridesmaid would survive longest on a reality competition show? Katie J. She's got that dog in her. She's gonna find a way. So, and I feel like her life's a little bit of a reality show sometimes. So, I feel like she'll translate well. Which bridesmaid is the biggest troublemaker? This one's obviously an easy answer. And it's Caitlin. Because she has done the dumbest things that I have ever seen anybody do as a prank. First, she put a cricket in my house. Forgot where she put it. Second, we were driving from Des Moines to the Quad Cities, and she used a fart spray, like a wet fart spray, in the car on the way there with her in the car as a prank on me. I don't. To this day, I still can't tell you what she was thinking. And then later in the day, we get to a restaurant. She takes a salsa bottle, sprays the salsa bottle on me. She meant to have it go on my food, and it got on my favorite Kansas shirt. And I'm like, what are we doing? So she went over 3. But it's just the thought process just was not there. So that was just one day of the Caitlyn show that I saw that makes it a pretty clear answer of you really don't know what to expect. So, love her, but definitely a wild card out there. Which bridesmaid is most likely to convince everyone to take one more shot? Again, probably Caitlyn or Katie J. Maddie. Probably that one literally could have been everybody. But yeah, probably one of those 3. I did put Katie J on there just because Uncle Larry might want to do some tequila. Get the tequila rocking. Which bridesmaid would your fiance call first in an emergency? This is a short list. It's Ashton or Casey. So no offense to the rest of you, but I feel like those are the 2 solid answers of who I would call, and I think she would call also. Which bridesmaid is most likely to keep the dance floor alive all night? Probably Avery. Avery likes to bust it out. She got some energy. And I could see it. Especially with the playlist, big Taylor Swift gal. It's just I think the stars align on that night. And then which bridesmaid would survive longest in a zombie? I don't even know what that is. What that word is? Apocalypse? I don't know. But me, my sister, because I've built her mentally tough for the longest. So she's got probably the biggest edge there. She knows you can dig down deep. Anything's possible. Thanks to me. These are supposed to put me on the spot. What is her most irrational fear? I don't know, like clowns maybe. I don't think she likes clowns. I know she doesn't like clowns because at one point I bought a clown mask early when we were dating, just to mess with her. So I know she hates clowns. Driving. Driving is probably one of her most irrational fears too. You want to have a fearful drive? Just take her down Hickman, and you'll see your life flash before your eyes. But it's a journey. It's a journey. Life's a journey too. What would she bring to a deserted island? Probably me, but outside of me, she'd probably need her phone, because that's the only way she's gonna survive. Just hopefully somewhere on that island's got some service, because that's really the only hope. For love her to death, but yeah, she's not built for the deserted island at all. What is something she thinks she's good at, but she isn't? Ooh. I mean, skee ball. Like, this chick, on our first date, she was acting like she was like the skee ball queen. I'm like, is there a way to cheat at skee ball? Like, I don't know what she's like, the most confident person ever. And she was terrible at skee ball. And I'm like, what is going on? It's like Tom Brady walking in there, and it's like, I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Radio, but it was the radio dude playing football. But it was her playing skee ball. And I'm like, well, you are not very good at skee ball. So everything else Genna is good at. Because I think Genna can do whatever Genna wants to in life. I think she's an incredibly talented person. So there's nothing she's really bad at, or if she puts her mind to that she can't do. If she had a warning label, what would it say? Probably. Oof. Well, if a warning label, what would it say? Oof. Mm. Warning label. That's. Oh. He could go with so many things, you know. Um, Probably I don't know, like proceed with caution. I think she's a menace on the road, so you got to be cautious there. Back to the oh my god, like this, you know, you can't like get too worried about like her saying oh my god like something's wrong because 9 times out of 10 it's not. So you got to be really careful when there might be something wrong. But yeah, I mean, one day she, yeah, text me, oh my god, and then I didn't hear from her for like 15 minutes, and she was like, "What?" I'm like, "That's like something's wrong, right?" So probably just proceed with caution, but it's worth the journey. So, um, slightly spicy. What is her favorite physical feature on you? What that tongue do, boy? I'll give you the second guess. Give you a guess on the second one, and we'll say it rhymes with slick. what is your what is my favorite physical feature on her? My favorite physical feature on Genna. I mean it's she's got a smile that lights up the room, and like to me, there's so many bad like I don't know if I've had a bad day, but like maybe you had a long day and like you get home and you just see her smile and she gives you a hug and your mind it reminds you that everything's gonna be okay. That you have somebody like that in your life, and it just brings you comfort. So I think her uh, yeah, I would say her smile because it brings joy to any day that I've ever had. So, um, what is your favorite thing about waking up next to her? It's comfort to me. It just like feels like where you're supposed to be. Um, and it starts your day off with the right way. Being able to wake up to the person that you love the most. There's no better feeling. So, but to me, it's the amount of comfort I do feel waking up next to her. Who's more likely to send a flirty text? Probably your boy. Probably your boy. You know, sometimes we like to spice the day up a little bit. But what is your favorite? What is your favorite way she shows affection? I mean, she's always gotta be touching me. Yeah. I mean, like sometimes you gotta tell her, listen, your feet are freezing. I'm going to bed. You gotta take your feet off of me and put your feet on your side of the bed. So sometimes you gotta like remind her, but it does make you always feel like needed, loved. So it's a special feeling. But sometimes you gotta, we got our sides of the bed. We gotta stick to them. So sometimes we fight that battle together. All right, final question. What is one thing you hope she never forgets, no matter how many years pass, about how much you love her? Well, she won't forget it because I, promised to, you guys, ones that she loves, that there won't go a day that Jenna won't know how much she cared or how much she means to me. Because I think, she's a special person that she loves a lot, she cares a lot. And she needs someone that's going to show up for her and love her just as much, if not more, every day because she gives out so much to the people around her. So I'm going to fill that cup back up for her every day as much as I can, and do the best I can every day to show her. But I truly hope that she'll never forget that. And, I'm going to do my best to remind her every day that she changed my life. I couldn't imagine a life without her. So uh, I'm just the luckiest person to be able to get to marry her, in a few months. But I'm even luckier to have great people like you guys in my life as well. But I think it all goes back to uh, being able to spend my life with the most basic person I've ever met. Because she's surrounded by great people who've helped her be the person she is today. So I wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change a thing about her. I look forward to every second of every day with her. And if one thing goes right the rest of our lives, it's gonna be that she'll remember how much I always love her and how much I always care about her. But for that, I'm out. Love you guys. Bye.